camp experience, right? This kid with a little this or that, getting his shot just engulfed by Victor Wembanyama, or this kid who attempted to take a charge from Scotty Barnes.
I think one is more painful, one's more embarrassing. I will take the embarrassment over the pain.
Yeah. And to be clear, the embarrassment is that he didn't set his feet, or the embarrassment is getting stuffed?
The embarrassment is that he didn't set his feet.
Okay. Kendrick Perkins is here. Who had a better use of nature, getting in touch with Mother Nature? Davion Mitchell in the Swiss Alps, absolutely gorgeous. Or Steven Adams carrying an entire tree in New Zealand.
Well, I'm always rolling with Big Steven Adams. By the way, I don't even know if he owns a pair of shoes. In the summertime, he don't even wear shoes. Like we see him carrying this log, but he also goes hog hunting barefooted as well. Steven Adams is just different.
That's a different type of toughness. Ramona, we're going to stay overseas. Okay. Who had the better experience? Jimmy Butler getting buckets in wine country, it looks like, in France, or AJ DeBonsa in China?
Oh, definitely Jimmy. Jimmy does things right. When he travels, he got the court set up there. Like, DeBonsa just got drafted. He's on a little tourist leg. But Jimmy, probably is staying at that castle.
Well, he's
staying
at the castle, and also it's good to see him getting some shots up after his injury. But the Great Wall of China is definitely on my bucket list. All right, just because summer, though, is in full swing, it doesn't mean there's not still business left to attend to here, because there's some big names available still in free agency. I'm looking at James Harden, DeMar DeRozan, unrestricted free agents, although Ramona Shelburne, you did report yesterday that Harden is expected to re-sign with Cleveland. It's just a matter of when and how much. And then Jalen Duren, Peyton Watson, and Ben Mathurin, all restricted free agents. And we've also got some notable extensions coming up soon. August 29th, that's when Steph Curry, eligible to sign a 2-year, $137 million extension with the Warriors. That would take his NBA career earnings over that $600 million threshold. Anthony Davis, eligible to sign a 4-year, $275 million extension with Washington. That's on August the 6th, a couple of days away. And it would mean the Wizards would be paying him $76 million to play at 37 years old. And Karl-Anthony Towns already eligible to sign a 4-year, $273 million extension with the Knicks. But if he waits and opts into his player option, he could be eligible for an even bigger payday here. We said it. We said the money, and Bobby Marks appears. Kendrick Perkins here as well. Vince Goodwill. All right. What is the most important Bobby Marks extension that we should be watching as the calendar already turns to April?
I think it's got to be Karl-Anthony Towns. Malik, he's been eligible to agree on an extension once the finals ended back in June. 4 years, $273 million. He's got a $61 million player option for next year. That option would go away. You can add on 4 more years starting in 2027, 28. Why it's important is I think there's 2 things. Certainly, we've talked about the Knicks in the apron the whole summer here. If Towns signs for that number, they're roughly $13 million below the second apron next year, and they've got 4 or 5 roster spots. Now, let's look at the future. 2028-29, Jalen Brunson. That would be the first year that he could come in at a max contract, roughly 5 years, $360+ million. OG Anunoby also here. Yeah. So the money starts to add up when you're in New York. So it's got to be Towns is the extension that is the big focus that we're going to be watching right now.
It's the entire Knicks team. You look up, and not only is Towns up for an extension, he sacrificed a lot, but he was also the catalyst on both ends of the floor. Rightfully can expect a max contract or something close to it.
That difference.
Josh Hart is up for a contract extension on August 10th. Also next summer, OG Anunoby. He'll be up for a contract extension. Yeah. And, of course, we know about Jalen Brunson and what he could sign for next offseason. But if he decides to wait, you get the super, super big boy max that takes you into your late 30s. This is the second apron of the NBA, trying to keep teams together and decisions that players have to make more so than franchises.
Well, we heard from James Dolan on this matter, too. He joined the radio in New York, and he said that they don't want to be a second apron team here, Perk. That's not what they are looking to be financially.
Well, that's his problem, not the players. And Karl-Anthony Towns is a champion. And Karl-Anthony Towns, in my opinion, is still the most important player on the Knicks. That don't mean that he's the best player. he's the most important player. We saw that what he did in the NBA Finals, being able to neutralize Victor Wembanyama when we thought that it was no big that was going to be able to match that intensity.
So,
and so if I'm Karl-Anthony,
Let me ask you this then: if you're Karl-Anthony Towns, because what you're saying is correct, do you feel pressure to take less money?
Well, I know what I am doing, Malika. I'm pocket watching. I'm pocket watching and seeing what other guys around the league got. Trae Young got $212 million. Austin Reeves just got $180 million. Karl-Anthony Towns is a champion. Now, he shouldn't take less than what those two guys got. Now, should he, sacrifice a little bit? Maybe so, but not much. I'm always an advocate. I'm always going to be a big advocate for guys, especially players, to get as much money as you possibly can. He delivered a championship. He did it in great fashion. That man deserves his lettuce.
Look, we should be talking about the champs and keeping them together, but I think that Anthony Davis extension is very interesting because he didn't get to play in Dallas. He was fighting to get back onto the court. He wanted to play. The Mavericks didn't play him. Then he goes to Washington. He doesn't play. And it's restricting his ability to prove himself. And I have some empathy for that because he's come out and said, I want to play all 82 games. This extension is on the table. But when you're looking at a guy who wants to prove that he can stay healthy, but the teams that have traded for him or had him on the team are not necessarily allowing him to play sometimes.
Yeah.
That's difficult.
So we're kind of comparing and contrasting two different things. Can we go back to the Knicks here for a second,
Sure.
Vince? Because when you're talking about looking at Anthony Davis's contract extension, Trae Young's contract extension, that's a team that's working to get back into winning ways. It's different than trying to win as many championships as possible. And that is only possible in this new structure if players continue to do what we saw Jalen Brunson, Victor Wembanyama do.
And the question is Jalen Brunson going to make the same decision that he made a few years ago when he signed early? He didn't take less than his max. He signed a year early. The same thing will be facing him next summer. Will he sign for $4 and $254 million, or will he say, I can wait a year and sign for $371 at some point? Not saying that anybody's going to the poorhouse or anything like that, but when you are entering your late 30s, you know that these are the last times that you can go and maximize your earnings. How much is this going to be on the players to make these decisions rather than the organization?
Well, when the captain sacrifices, I think it puts pressure on all of them.
Will the captain sacrifice again?
That's right. And should you have to sacrifice again if you've already done it once?
Go ahead, Perk.
But see, and this is a problem because it shouldn't be on the players to have to sacrifice their money. Is nowhere else in the world that asks people who are really great at their jobs and do their jobs at a high level to say, you know what, we want to give you a promotion, but we don't want to pay you a lot of money. Hell, when we're in contract negotiations here at our network, I'm not walking in the room and saying, you know what, I'm going to sacrifice a little of my money so Vinny, Mark, and Ramona and Malika to get paid. I wouldn't expect y'all to do but seriously,
I'll buy you coffee, though.
I wouldn't expect you guys to. I wouldn't expect you guys to do the same for me. Like, if you worked your ass off to get where you're at, why should you have to take a backseat or a pay cut in order to make sure that you keep the team together? That's not on you. That's on the owners. Like, we're talking about saving billionaires money when these players have went out and delivered and earned this money, and they have delivered in great fashion. This is a problem, and this is why the Players Association has stepped in.
Right, but Bobby, when we've heard from the commissioner, Adam Silver, on questions about the second apron and the way that teams are being constructed, essentially we've heard this is how this was intended to work. Is that correct? Is this what is supposed to happen?
That's 100% correct. The ability to retain your own players, that's been the focus here. I think, Malika, we're at a little over 75% of players that finished on the roster last season are back this season here. And I think when you look at it, the ability to extend with your team, and when you extend with your own team, then there's less of a market for teams out there with cap space in free agency. That's going to be the biggest thing. I think if Karl-Anthony Towns does not extend, how many teams out there can actually go out and sign him to a $200 million plus contract next offseason? We've averaged 23 extensions, veterans over the last 3. We're only at 4 right now.
Right.
And if the numbers stay low, we're going to see probably a third of the league with room next summer.
Which is pretty incredible to think about. Bobby, one quick thing on the Jalen Brunson contract. Basically, when you take less money, they're able to sign all these players with that flexibility. But essentially what that also does is set you up for later down the line. You're still going to get that. You sacrifice now in order to be able to also get that payday later.
You're correct. Basically, by Jalen doing that contract a couple years ago, it started the clock a little bit earlier for him to basically go out and recoup that $100 million that he left on the table.
And that brings the question of when we talk about, and we have this, it's the middle of July. We have this conversation, to be honest with you guys, every single summer about, is this the end of the dynasties? Are we going to